Gang, I don't know how well this is working out here. What I've been doing is in preparation for painting this bike, I want to get my airbrush out. Hadn't picked one up in a long time for any real kind of work. So I want to practice, and I'm using these old toolboxes. Right now, I'm going to unmask these flames so I can get some clear on them, because I might change my mind about this is all silver, and I might take these flames off and do something like maybe a candy blue, candy plum crazy, something like that. I don't know. What I did with these flames is very non-traditional. They're a candy flame instead of a regular opaque, I guess you call it, flame. So what I'm doing before I get started on motorcycle stuff, I want to get these untaped. These edges I wanted to leave taped because I think I'm going to practice gold leaf on these edges. There's no rhyme or reason to what I'm doing. I'm just wanting to practice with the airbrush as opposed to make some kind of cool paint job or something. We'll try to get all this unmasked and see what our flames really look like. It's hard to tell when things are taped up, you know, what you really got. In my mind, it's the way my mind sees things. But I'm gonna finish getting all this tape off here and all this fine line off here, and we'll see what we got. Hi guys, you can see I need to work on flame layout and stuff like that. I need work. It's not great, but it was a start. It got me, you know, messing with the colors and see how these colors are gonna do. I don't like this tape. It's cheap tape. It had some bleed through here and there, and it leaves a weird little film. You can see exactly where that fine line was. If this is going on a car or a motorcycle or whatever, I'd redo it. I'm not a big fan of it, but it was a start. I'm gonna try to carefully come in here and get rid of that where that tape leaked. I got some leak up here. This right here, that was a big time fail right there. That's not cool, but anyway, it's a start. Yeah, I'll probably just sand it a little bit, get rid of the overspray and clear that whole thing. Get it ready to flip over and do another side, because I'm going to be practicing with fish scales and lotus petal and stuff like that. So anyway, it's a start. Now let's get to what's going on with this bike. Okay guys, me and my buddy have been chasing parts and have had one obstacle after the other trying to get carburetors on this bike. Let's look at the carburetor situation first, and then we'll go on to the wiring, which I switched to because I couldn't get parts for the fuel system. Okay, these are our carb isolators that came on the bike, and you can see that they were not sealing well for probably a really long time. All gobbed up with Permatex it run lean if it leaks. So these are unobtainium. You can't, I won't say unobtainium. You might be able to find them. We were not able to find them. So I was looking into, is there a way to rejuvenate these things? And I thought maybe like a little toaster oven that would warm them a bit, but those are like hard plastic. What I stumbled across was a video from Brickhouse Builds where he was boiling these for 5 minutes, and they would come back to where he could actually squish them. These you can't do that with. There's no squishy there at all. That's going to be another video. We're going to clean these up and boil them and see if they'll soften. I don't know if his I don't know if the isolators he was working on were this hard or not, but we'll give it a shot because I can find them for the A engine. I think the F engines you can find them for, but this is the E engine. Let me go and show you what I'm talking about on that. It's the CB750E. Okay, so we're going to see. We're going to see what we can do with that. Back over here, we have these carbs I built. I drilled the jets to make a 120 jet, which is what I need, and I could not find just a set of 4 120 jets, so I drilled the main jets in these carburetors and got them all set up. But I had trouble, a lot of trouble, with the linkage. It was all bent up, like beyond recognition. All these ears on the linkage, I don't know if you can see that. There's a little ear on the back side of that. It was all wadded up. This was wadded up and bent around to where you couldn't even get the throttle shaft over this way. So, and you can see this, see how this arm hits that, it's hitting that fuel supply. On this set, that arm has it's free to open and close. On this set, it won't even close to rest on that stop. It still has to go another, I don't know if you can see that, 1/16 of an inch before it comes down and rests. So what I'm going to do, what my plan is to keep these cars I built and and use these shafts. Primarily, I'm okay with this shaft up here. This is fine, that main throttle shaft. But this choke shaft, I want to take out of these carburetors along with the linkages and all that good stuff. I want to take that and put in these carbs because this is all, it's messed up bad. I took my measurements, the throttle shafts measured out the same. Everything looks to be the same as far as diameter. Okay, so we're going to try to get a set of carbs out of 2 sets. All right, let's go see the wiring here for a minute. What I'm doing, I've got, this looks like a big mess, but I've got to build a wiring harness for this bike. And I've taken long strands and I'm just checking everything out. And I'm using these distribution blocks while I'm doing my testing. This is key hot, okay? It comes up from the battery into the ignition switch and comes down hot. And that's where I'm powering things from temporarily till I make sure all systems are go, all right? These, I used those, let me see if I can find them. These, they're working out okay, but I'm going ahead, since I'm going to group all of this into a harness using wiring harness tape, I went ahead and just wrapped a single wrap of tape around those to make sure, because I don't trust them, it's something I haven't used a lot, to make sure we don't have any shorts. So inside of that tape is one of those connectors. I hope they work out good. I'm a novice with them. In order to find out all this stuff, I don't know if this would be helpful to you guys or not, but I'm using a meter and measuring continuity. Okay? I went through these wires and picked one by one through the wires using my meter. I turn this to, say I want left turn signal. Okay, I determined that this was common with these two. I was measuring continuity through those. So I'm going to have right and left turn signal. I'm not sure which is, which color is right and which one's left. One of these is right, one of these is left. And that goes to our winker, blinker, flasher, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to have to just say this is left. I'm going to come out of here with my left, go up here, feed the turn signal wire, and then feed my signals out of that, and then repeat for the right side. That's how I'm approaching my getting everything determined what's what. And you can see I've got I got my neutral switch and oil fender. I'm labeling it's a labor of love. That's all I can say. mind numbing. I don't really like electrical work much, but it's what you got to do. It's part of the process. So anyway, I'll quit gabbing here and we'll get to work. All right, gang, I'm going to set our meter up. We're going to measure for continuity. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. I got it set to left. I want to know which one of these is left. So I go to our winker, blinker, flasher, whatever you want to call it, wire, and I go to the left. Pick the orange wire. See, our right's not going to do anything. We go right. That tells me that this switch is good, and it also tells me what I've got going to what. It identifies my wires. Secondly, I got some bulbs. When I was testing these bulbs, I was having to switch them out. This one, I had a couple of burnt out ones, so I was having to switch them in the socket to identify everything on the front. I just want to make sure that these bulbs that come from you-know-where are any good. Okay, that bulb's good. Normally we wouldn't do that, would we? We'd know that the bulb was good if it was brand new, but that doesn't happen much anymore. Doesn't make sense to trust a bulb to be good anymore, rather, whatever. So that's the two that were burnt out. I'm going to go ahead and put those in their sockets and go back over my wiring up here, double check, and if all that's good, we're going to start pulling wire. All right, guys, I don't know if it'll help you or not. It's just the way I'm doing it. I've got a little 12-volt Milwaukee battery that I put some spade connectors on. That way I can have power going through these circuits as I'm testing them. This one goes to what powers up this cluster, okay? That is going to send power to the bulb on my neutral. When it gets grounded, when I shift that and it grounds, when I hit neutral, we've got our light. I guess you can see that. Yeah. So if you need 12-volt source and you don't have everything hooked up, that might help you. It's, I don't know, good system to me. At any rate, we're going to continue on with this process, getting power where it needs to go and ground where it needs to go. All right, guys, I located our winker. I think I'm going to mount it on the side of the battery box down here. But I located our winker there and ran the wire coming up here that's going to provide hot inside that circuit. This is where I don't trust these. I may be doing it wrong. However, I'm using a little butane torch, pencil torch. I heat this end to where to grip that wire, and that is to evenly start moving heat around that solder connection. Sometimes it works out well for me, but sometimes by the time that solder flows, it'll pop and leave a hole. I don't trust it any other way other than to see that solder flow. When I see the solder flow, I'm good with it, but by that time it'll pop, and that's why I'm covering them with tape. If you know a better way, leave it in the comments. I could be doing it wrong for sure. All right, let's fire it up. Maybe out of gas. Oh, there it is. I'll shrink that. Yep, I'm out of gas, guys. Let's see if it wants to play ball now. Okay, we got a flame. It's funny how every time you turn the camera on, things are difficult. It's starting to soften now. I can see things moving around. Seeing solder just starting to flow. That looks good. That one didn't pop. You know, sometimes it'll act like it's built up pressure. And it could be from where I'm soldering these ends. And maybe that's supposed to let that pressure escape. Maybe I should work on this first and let it expand or whatever. And it won't pop. I don't know. I'm going to play with it. Experiment with it. I'm old school and I just don't trust new stuff. That's probably my main problem. Or it might be a good thing too. Sometimes the old ways are better for sure. All right, I'm gonna get a length of wire that is plenty. I'll tape that off and I'm gonna start making everything else up. My ground's made up front. We're gonna go ahead and solder this eyelet on for the ground, and I'm gonna ground it where you strap the coils to the frame. That should give me a good, good ground. All right. I'm gonna temporarily ground that for my testing purposes. Of course, all this has got to be taken off for paint. But I'm going to ground that right there, and it will be snug and secure while I'm doing my testing. I like to eliminate as many of the stuff that I'm using, like I'll use, this is the Winker wire. I'm getting ready to test it out, and I'm using a double-ended alligator clip, just a test wire. It eliminates a lot of that, because when you're working around, you can pull the alligator clip loose and you'll be working over here and everything's not working again. So just eliminating some of that. Now I've got my Winker. I need to get power to the Winker, and I've got to get these made up. Got to get a left signal tying in with our bulb, and I've got to get a wire out here for this signal. Wherever it goes, I'm just going to leave the wire long. It's wasteful, but that's part of the thing. Yeah, we'll just keep going with it. I've made up everything for the left turn signal circuit. I put a temporary, my buddy was wanting to order some special turn signals for the front of this thing. The rear of it is just this is what the fella that we're building a bike for, what he wants, a little LED combo with your turn signal, tail light, brake light, all that good stuff. What I did, I temporarily put a resistor in here because they are LED and they're not going to flash like a normal bulb. It will not trigger the Winker. The resistance, from what I understand the way it works, the Winker will warm up when it senses resistance and it will flash. It'll make and break, which gets your flash, okay? My understanding is LEDs will not do that because they don't provide enough resistance. So you have to put a resistor in line. So there's our temporary resistor. I believe when I finish up, I'm going to locate it. Maybe I got to hide it. I want to hide it somewhere, the both of them. I don't know. It might be visible. It might be visible right here. I'll find a place to hide it because I don't want to see all that stuff. I'm sure he doesn't either. Anyway, that's just a temporary setup. So we're going to turn the bike on. Okay, we've got our indicator flashing. We've got our little temporary strobe turn there. And we've got the left over here. So everything's working. That means that I can start getting some of this stuff squared away. I'm going to figure out where to locate that flasher. I'm going to take it loose out of here. We'll get it somewhere. I want to accommodate the other one too, so it's going to have to be a good spot. Yeah, I'm going to start buttoning this stuff up now that I know that circuit is working. It's just like that. I told my buddy it's like In Search of Bigfoot. You know, it's this wire and stuff, especially when you're starting from scratch. having to make other things work, it could be a little bit of a nightmare. But it's not too bad, really. It's not too bad. So I'm gonna get the left side buttoned up, and we'll do the right side. Guys, here's a little part where your feedback's gonna be appreciated. I absolutely hate on choppers of any kind, great big gaudy thing. That's why I want a really. Me and my buddy were talking about what turn signal to use, and I had these on the shelf, but he's talking about something even smaller than that, which I appreciate. I love that. We're going to have some small turn signals here, and the headlight that's on these factories is like as big as a basketball, and it just kills the look of the chopper to have stuff like that. Now I had these little lights as part of the kit, LED, very small. I believe I can tuck that away in here somewhere, and it'd be almost unnoticeable, in my opinion, compared to the basketball. I found a wire that is it goes dead while you're cranking, and then it's on while you're while the bike's running. I'll show you what I mean. I think I'm going to use this wire. Okay, there's our light on. When I crank it, it goes dead, which is perfect. What do you guys think about that? The idea of that? I'm asking because it's the way I'm leaning, but I'm really not convinced. I'm really not convinced yet. I don't know. Put it in the comments, if you got a suggestion. Anyway, I'm going to carry on with this. I got a whole lot more soldering and wire to pull. Well, gang, I believe I'm just about done roughing the wiring in. It's going to be, once I test everything out, probably another time or two, I'll be satisfied. To make double sure I've got everything. I'll start putting this stuff in, getting the harness tape put on it, which I don't have it to show you, but it allows you to gather this stuff, and you start going around and around and around using several feet of it. And I'm going to work my way back, and I can get rid of all the slack out of this stuff and get it more consolidated in under here. I do believe I'm going to take the resistors. I've about decided to screw them to the battery box. Let's just give everything a little double check here. Okay, see where we're at. Okay, we've got our neutral light. Put it out. Back in neutral, that's working. Our oil light, whenever we break ground, this is going to make ground when that oil pressure pushes against it. That should be correct. If I'm understanding my schematic, that is it'll make ground, which sounds a little bit opposite, but according to the schematic, that's the way it works. In my mind, it should be on all the time, and you start it and it break ground. But according to the schematic, that's the way I'm understanding it. Could be wrong. We've got our headlight. Did we check this to see if yeah. It's off whenever we hit the start button, on whenever we're not starting the bike in run mode. Let's do our left turn signals. Okay, we got a signal there. We've got flasher up top, the indicator. We're good back here. Let's go to the right. You can't see it hardly for that headlight. Yep, that's flashing. Got an indicator. And we've got it back here. Yeah, it's all good. Now I've tested, this is hot for the coals. I've tested it a few times. I'm pretty happy with it. So yeah, it's looking good. I'm liking everything so far. So I'm still mixed up about that. Oil pressure, because that seems to work in reverse from what I'm accustomed to. But we'll know when it runs. When we, I'm going to put I want these indicators working for the sake of the recipient of the bike. Me and my buddy are building this for this guy, and he's a young guy, new rider. Want to make sure that everything's safe for him. That's why it's important to me to have the turn signal indicators. Because if you have forgot to turn your turn signal off and you're heading down the road straight through an intersection or whatever, that's when people want to get your killing done. And I don't want anything like that happening to him. So I'd rather him have the indicators. And I want that oil pressure. I want the oil pressure working for the same reason. I'm gonna put a gauge on here. There's a little kit. You take this gallery plug out, and you put the kit in there, and you can screw on a manual oil pressure. That tells you how much you got. The idiot light just tells you that you don't have anything anymore. It's going to be a little extra something for him. But that, I don't know, I'm a gauge guy. I want the gauge on there, and I believe he'll appreciate that too. So I'm going to wrap everything up right here. I hope the video wasn't too boring. I've been out of the shop since that cold snap came through. The old man just couldn't be out here. But it's a little better today, so got a little time in the garage. You guys have a good one. Thanks for watching.